guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Psychic Medium Raymond Guzman, and today I'm going to be doing celebrity psychic reading on the weekend. This was requested by some viewers. So I will be giving you what I see for the remaining of 2018 going into 2019 and beyond. So what I see, what I have coming through when I tune into the weekend is that he is a very funny guy, very, just the type of guy you would love to hang around with, and have as your best friend. I feel like he's, he gets people and just really connects to them and without judging them at all. And, he has this passion for his music. His music is everything. This is where he, gets to show his creative side and his artistic side, because apart from being like, a musician and a vocalist, I do get that he's very creative, and so he has an eye for art, and he tries to incorporate that in his music and the visual concepts behind the videos. Even though he may have, video producers or directors, he, does try to give his feedback and how he would like to have, the visuals set up. So I feel like he's very hands-on on a lot of his work that he is doing, and future work that he is going to be producing. I do also see that he would be evolving. So like we've seen his hairstyles change. At one point, he may actually shave his head completely and have like a fade, and also his beard, partially. So there's other, I'm seeing visions and snippets of different, different ways that he's going to be evolving. This would also be his style, the way he dresses, but definitely there's a lot of evolution in the future for him. Right now, I feel like he's really concentrating on his creativity, and the demand that he has right now for his music. There's a lot of collaborations that I see that he's going to continue to have, with different artists. A lot of success in his career. The only thing that really that stands out when I tune into him would be there's a lot of temptation. The temptation are past habits that he would have had. This could have been dependencies of some sort. When I say dependencies, not necessarily substances, but it could be substances. It could also be food, alcohol, smoking, those type of things. But the messages that are coming through from Spirit is that this is something that he just needs to be very aware of, because it feels like he's sober now. And that's what I feel like. He's sober in his life. You can attribute the word sober to, interpret that any way that you want. But I feel like he is sober and he is in a good place right now, but there's still a lot of temptation around him. These would be friends, associates, associations, people who he may mingle with, not necessarily be friends with, or that they're in his inner circle, but that are around him. And I just feel like they're not good influences all the time. There's a lot of things that, a lot of people that are on, actually, that are having dependencies right now on substances and things of that nature, and alcohol, and that all surrounds him. And it's almost like when you're in that kind of environment, you can be easily tempted if you're weak of mind. And I'm not saying that he's weak of mind, but after being exposed to that for a prolonged period of time, it could be like, I see, him possibly falling into that again, if he's not careful. And it would be something where like he's, at a party or something, and he would just say, oh, well, it's just this one time and I can stop anytime I want. But ultimately, that's not how, these things work. When you have had, dependencies in the past, it's kind of hard to deviate or break away from that unless you have a lot of help and a good support system. And I feel like I feel like a lot of his team, they're not, as authentic as he is. I feel like there's a couple of key members that, are around him, and they try to say yes to everything that, that he'll ask for their input or their opinion. And just to make him happy, they'll say yes to anything, that he wants, which is not something that, that when you have a group of people around you, you want people to be honest with you, even if it's brutally honest, and it's someone that's just, not feeding you so much, saying yes to your every whim or request, but actually turning, you need good people and solid people to really keep you grounded and really, tell you no to certain things that they know that may not be good for your career, or, good for your health, and good overall for you. And that's the kind of energy that comes through when I tune into his soul. and what I see, of the people that are around him. I also get that there's two important females in his life, and I'm going to get into the other slides. So let me go ahead and get into the other slide so we can go over that. Now, this is Bella Hadid and The Weeknd, and there's been a lot of speculation whether or not they are, and officially a couple, or they're friends. The energy that I get from them is that they're very much, like a couple, more like friends, but very much a couple still. I do feel like, Bella is a sweet soul, and she is, kind of matches the vibration of The Weeknd, of Abel, but I feel like, at the same time, he's a little opposite or a little bit different. He has a little darker side that he likes to embrace. Darker could be like alchemy, where he, has not necessarily dark thoughts or he's like evil, but the way that, everyone has a duality. We have a light side and a dark side. And I feel like for the most part, when I refer to a dark side with him, I feel like it's almost like he can get into this depressive mode. And, in a way, he does like the macabre or the dark things. And I feel like in a way it's a way of self-expression for him. This could be skulls, all black clothing, gothic. Basically, he likes the element of darkness. And with Bella, I feel like she kind of is like that as well, but at the same time, she's more light, and she is more of a lighter soul, less baggage with her. And when I tune into her soul, I feel like she's, developing feelings for him, that, could develop into something actually later on into much more. The thing here is that I don't see these two being together forever. It's not something where I see them long term. I feel like it's temporary, but at the same time, there will be heartbreak because I do see a separation eventually between the two of them. And what's so scary is that I feel like she would be the one that would be heartbroken the most, or not be able to cope a lot, or cope well with this relationship, even though she's a beautiful young lady and that she could find anyone, basically in her life that she would, there's a lot of men out there, potential suitors, who would love to have a relationship with her. But I just feel like in her mind and her soul that she is definitely, developing some emotions, and some false expectations about where this relationship is going, because he is very much controlled to a certain point by his team, his management team, his production company, music company. And, I feel like there is actually another lady that he may have his eyesight on, but she's not so much in the spotlight. So is he cheating on her? Not necessarily cheating, but there is someone that Spirit is referring to as well. And the thing is that both of these ladies that I see in his life are both powerful. They're both beautiful, and they both have their careers already set. I feel like the other one's more in fashion and maybe also in some kind of music as well. Where Bella, I believe, is just in, her own set, world. She has her own, career. But I feel like the other lady is very similar to Bella. But I feel like he is, deviated. His attention span between the two is definitely going to gravitate more towards the other one. It's almost like he's experimenting in many ways, but the thing with him that he has to keep in mind is that there's actual lives at stake here that are going to be hurt. So he will have to make a decision that comes up by 2019, with who or not, who he wants to be with, who he wants to spend his time with. Because I just feel like there is this, attention span. He's being pulled in two different directions and two different people. And I feel like there is a male who is in his life. It could be like a buddy, like a brother type of, friend. And, he sits there and he's observing everything and telling him, you know, you can't be doing this, Abel. You have to choose one person, to be with. You can't play with people's hearts. But he has his own creativity and his own vision of how he handles things. And so he's open to listening to people. I don't feel like he's closed off or gets, offended easily by what people have to say, but he's very observant, very smart gentleman. I feel like he will eventually, make the right decision, but I feel like he doesn't feel the same way about Bella, even though we see a lot, in photographies and, the paparazzi, a lot of these photos, like the photo that I put up on the screen, they look, the chemistry's there. But at the same time, if you look in their eyes, there's a difference. Bella's very happy. It's almost like dreamlike. That's the emotions that she's giving from her soul. When I tune into him, he's more thinkative. You know, he's not really there. His mind is like always, thinking about his career. That's the first priority. The second priority is his family, his mom, and his family. And then the third priority would be, relationships for him. So again, like I feel like he's, wanting to live more of the bachelor life and not so much be focused on living, a life of, settling down and just being, with someone completely and dedicating, starting a family. That's not going to happen yet. That may happen in a couple of years down the road, like 3 or 4 years. But for right now, I feel like he's, at the peak of his career. Things are getting off the ground. He's getting more exposure, and there's just a lot more to his career that, in many ways, it's sad because when you're dealing with the music industry, a lot of these artists, they're told that, they need to have this air of mystery or inaccessibility to people. They want them to, be appealing to a lot of women or to the female fan base and appear single, like if they would have a chance to be with the Weeknd. Um, that's like a marketing strategy, and it compromises the integrity of the artist, of the human being. It compromises their integrity and almost doesn't allow them to be who they are and be happy ultimately with their life and their life path. So again, these are struggles and things that I'm just picking up on seeing. A lot of people don't realize, but a lot of these relationships that we see are mainly like, there was this movie on TV, on that channel. It was called The Arrangement. For those of you that haven't seen that, I really would like for y'all to check that out and, check it out and see it. A lot of these celebrities, they tend to get into these relationships and it's all like a contract. It's all for PR, for public relations. So a lot of these artists that are in relationships and then they just go their own separate ways, a lot of it is just to gain publicity, and it's false. But a lot of people would think, it's like a form of acting. And if you look at the movie or that show, it's a show called The Arrangement, you'll understand a little bit more about the mind in Hollywood and how a lot of these people get together. They may develop, feelings, true feelings after a while, but a lot of it is almost like contractual and it's staged for the public to see. But that when I get into these two, Bella and The Weeknd, I just don't see, that lasting at this point. Like I said, there's another person. He is also there. There is another strong male, that is coming through. This is a much older gentleman with facial hair as well. He is Caucasian, and what I'm getting, he may be Canadian himself, but I feel like he is someone who holds a lot of power. This could be, again, his record company, someone in the record company. But what I'm getting is that this person is going to be presenting him with a business deal. This is major. It's going to be major. And it's not so much in music. It may be more with fashion, with clothing, or some other kind of business deal, maybe even acting, movies. But he is very, very well established, and he sits upon, his executive chair, and I just feel like, and I see, he's very much in control of everything. And I would say his hair is like grayish, salt and pepper maybe type of color, but that is what I'm seeing. He's very much going to present Abel with some type of business deal, and it's going to be up to him to select it. But what what I see for the Weeknd, within the next 2 to 3 years, there's going to be some conflicts, some scandals. Anywhere between now and 3 years from now, there is some scandals that are coming up among other male celebrity artists. This could be drama about music, or he said this and he said that. It's going to be some kind of drama that comes up, and then ultimately he does find his soulmate. And I feel like he will be, either engaged at some point, between now and 3 years or 3 to 4 years, but he does meet his soulmate, and it is true love that is being given to him. And it's almost like a reward. This person is almost like a reward in many ways to him. But right now, he's being prepared for a better way of living, more of expressing himself and having more creative control over his career. At some point, he will also, I see him like having his own record label, and basically having his own artists, his roster of artists. you know, he'll still do music, but more like mentoring and like I said, having his own record label. That's exactly the kind of direction that I see him going into. As far as Bella, she will, go on and be in a different relationship with another man, who I feel is more European than Canadian. But we shall see, how this all plays out. But yeah, this is what I see for the weekend, and I want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you have any other artists or actors or actresses that you would like for me to do a celebrity reading on, please go ahead and comment in the comment sections below. If you did like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And if you would like to set up a private reading with me, you can go to my website. That's www.raymondguzman.net/shop. Blessings and love and light. Thank you.